Welcome back, guys. This is your review after Christmas. I can imagine that you probably haven't spent your whole break thinking about slope and y-intercepts and solving. So we're going to have one day to kind of review all the stuff we were talking about before you left, to kind of jog your memory and be like, oh yeah, that stuff. I kind of totally forgot how to do that stuff. So hopefully we'll remember today. All right? So, number one, let's review solving. Just solving for one letter. Pause and go ahead and write this down. So solving, remember with solving, you could distribute, you had to combine like terms, you draw your line, all that good stuff. So I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to distribute my 3. Remember, side by side means multiplied. So I'm going to rewrite my 27 here. 3 times 2 is 6, and then the x comes down. 3 times, remember this is a negative 1, so 3 times negative 1 in your head or in the calculator is negative 3. Right? Then your x, 6 is your best friend, get rid of this guy. The opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. That goes away. 27 plus 3 is 30. And your 6x comes down. Hopefully this looks familiar. Last thing you do is you divide by 6, because side by side means multiplied, so the opposite is dividing. 30 divided by 6 is 5. Done. Okay? Solving with one letter. Hopefully that looks somewhat similar. Okay? What about solving for a variable when there's 2 different ones? Okay? So write down this problem, and we're going to be solving for a. Okay? So this is a little different. I'm going to draw my line here. Remember, if we're solving for a, that means you're a. So you're a, your best friend is 12. We're going to get rid of this minus 6b. So the opposite of subtracting 6b is adding 6b. To both sides. That says 6b, not like 66. That's a b there. This goes away. My 12a comes down. And then what some of y'all will try to do is add these two numbers. But remember, these things are different. That's a b and that's not. So if they're different, you have to put them side by side. It does not matter which one you put first. You could put the 12 first or the 6 first. I'm going to put the 6 first. So a positive 6b. And since this is a positive 12, we put plus 12. Okay? And then we divide everything by 12. A equals 6 divided by 12. A lot of y'all are going to put 2. No. 6 divided by 12 in your calculator is 0.5. But if you remember, I like fractions better if possible, so that's 1/2. So 1/2 b. And 12 divided by 12 is just a positive 1. Okay? That's it. So, real quick, just as a compare and contrast, if there's only one letter, then your answer is just a number, like 5 or 12 or negative 6. But if you have 2 different letters, then your answer it's going to be more of an expression. Okay? It's not going to be just a plain, simple, easy answer. All right. Let's get into some good stuff. Slope and y-intercept. All right? Slope and y-intercept. Now, I want underneath the word slope, write this. Remember, slope is the rate of change. Rate of change is slope. Okay? Most importantly, slope is the number with x after, keyword after, you solve for y. Okay? Rate of change, and it's the number with x after you solve for y. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, where the line crosses the y-axis, and it's also the number not with x after you solve for y. Okay? All right, so slope and intercept. Hopefully that's bringing it back. So let's solve this for y here, okay? Real quick, there's no number with x, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And I'm going to draw my line. We're going to solve for y. So your y, 3 is your best friend. We kick out the 1x. The opposite of positive 1x is negative 1x. That goes away. Positive 3y comes down. Yet again, you could put the 9 first or the negative 1 first. It doesn't matter. Just don't subtract these things because they're different. I'm going to go ahead and put the negative 1 first, but you could put the 9 first. That's a positive 9, so plus 9. Right? Then this is a positive 3, which is why this is a positive 3 here. I divide everything by 3. Negative 1 divided by 3. You get this decimal, which I don't like repeating decimals, so math enter, is just negative 1/3. So negative 1/3 x. And then 9 divided by 3 is a positive 3. So some of y'all might give me this, but that's not what I want. Okay, that is the equation, but I want the slope and the y-intercept. So I'm going to make a complete sentence. The slope is, and the slope's a number with x, so negative 1/3. Okay? The y-intercept is, I'm just going to put int. The y-int is, and I'm going to write it as a point. Okay? I want you to remember that the y-intercept is when x is 0, and then my y-intercept is positive 3. So a positive 3 goes there. Okay? Done. So write it out. That's the slope. That's your y-intercept. Okay. Writing equations. This is something we've done, and it might be one of the main things that you've forgotten. But writing equations. Let's go over the steps. So step 1, I need you to find the slope. And I'll show you how to do that in a second if you don't remember. Step 2 is you plug in to y equals mx plus b. And then step 3 is you write your equation. Okay? Find slope, y equals mx plus b, write your equation. So, we have to find our slope here. And if you don't remember how to find slope, this is the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 stuff. Okay? So, I'm going to label my points. X and y. And I'll put 1s here and 2s here. Okay? So, y2 minus y1. y2 is 9 minus y1 is 5. Over x2 minus x1. x2 is 4 minus x1 is 2. Okay? 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm going to put slope is 2. Okay? So it said find slope. I did y2 minus y1, and I found my slope. Okay? Then it says plug into y equals mx plus b. I have a slope, so I have to pick a point. It doesn't matter which point you pick. So this one or that one. I'm going to go ahead and use 2, 5. It doesn't matter. You could pick either one, but I'm going to go ahead and use 2, 5. Okay? So that's my slope, and that's the point that I'm going to use. So I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. What's my y value? Well, that's my slope. This is an x value. You can barely see that. X value, and this is a y value. So my y value is 5. So 5 equals. My slope is 2. My x value is also 2. That comes from here, the x value right there, plus b. And then let's just solve. So 5 equals 2 times 2 is 4 plus b. And then the opposite of a positive 4 is negative 4. So 5 minus 4 is 1. Good. So let's write it out. Y equals, my slope is 2, so 2x, and my y-intercept is a positive 1 plus 1. This is my answer. I know it's a lot of work, but we did that a lot before the break, so hopefully you remember what you're doing. Last example, guys. Last one. Comparing equations. Okay? Comparing equations. Now, notes real quick if you remember. We compare two things. We compare the slope. Leave a little space here, and then we compare the y-intercept. The easy one is the y-intercept. The y-intercept moves the equation up or down. Okay, it shifts it up or it shifts it down. The slope, remember there's 3 things you need to know. Okay, one thing that you need to know is that If it gets closer to 0, it gets less steep, or you could put flatter. Okay? If it gets further from 0, it gets steeper. And if it's parallel, the lines are the same. Okay? All right, so the slope here is 6 and the slope here is 2. So it was 6 and now it's 2. So it got closer to 0, so you're going to put it's less steep. It was at positive 9 and now it's at positive 3. So it was at positive 9 and now it's at 3, so it went down. And from 9 to 3, it went down 6. Okay? All right, that's it. So those are your 5 examples. Go ahead and get to your assignment and ask me questions.